Welcome to the longest running episodic television program on Love Wrestling's Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Welcome, of course, to Sunday Brunch. Thank you for allowing me to pander, but thank you, friends, for tuning in to what is a staple here on Love Wrestling at 11 a.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. Eastern. I got Carl, I got Cody, and we got lots of great people tuned in the chat end of things. So, if you got suggestions, you got comments, you got questions, you got concerns, you got grievances or positive thoughts on the latest across the world of wrestling, throw them to us. That is what Sunday Brunch is all about. It is a loose professional wrestling discussion with some of my favorite people. We've got one of the longest additions, or latest additions, I suppose, to Love Wrestling, and we've got one of the individuals who's been here since the start on screen. First and foremost, though, friends, we got to honor the comment section. If we're going to encourage people to tune in, then we got to say hello. Good morning, Faber. It is appreciated to see you. Don, good to see you as well. Goose, what is that clicking noise? It is like a fast-paced beeping. I don't know, man. I can't tell you. I'm not a technological wonder on any end of things. Anybody maybe has a fan running? I don't know. I can't tell you anything on that side of things.
I can hear it, too.
Well, I can hear it as well, but I'm not going to let it damper my mood, and especially coming up with a happy birthday to Carl. Carl had a, maybe I should be talking a little quieter. I don't know how your head's feeling after having a party last night.
My head is all good.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much. My head is all good. You know what? I have to say that this opener that you have going on for Sunday Brunch, that little tune that happens there, it's like a tropical paradise that is taking you away and really setting the tone for everything, especially for today, because it is a muggy, rainy day here where I am. But like one of my favorite bands from my youth, Garbage, would say, I'm only happy when it rains, and even better, I'm only happy when I am doing stuff for Love Wrestling.
Dude, it's rare you get a garbage shout out. Like there, you know what? Just to make a play on words, it's often you get garbage shout outs on Twitter, but you don't often get a garbage shout out as far as the band goes. Cody, to you in a second, my friend. But Joe, thank you for tuning in the comments section on your lunch break at the shoot job. Of course, we got two halves of the two halves of Turnbuckle Rewind kicking it with us this morning. And a Bon Jovi to you as well, Jules. It is appreciated that you were taking the time to say hello. As always, friends, throw your comments, questions, concerns, anything like that you may have in the comment section. We're happy to chat about anything in pro wrestling. We got a couple of clips from my upcoming interviews coming your way. We got lots we want to preview. And, of course, we want to say hello to our friend Cody. How you doing, man? How are things on your side? You've been here a lot lately in the most positive end.
Figure I should dip my head in, just jump in the deep end, pop in everywhere I can, get to know everybody on the team,
Dive
react,
in with both
play
feet,
some
hey?
games, watch some Dynamite, whatever fits me.
Well, good. That is what we are all about here on Love Wrestling. Thank you, friends, again, for tuning in. It is appreciated. We are going to kick it off on a bit of a negative note. I know they touched it off yesterday on the Love Wrestling Reacts, the weekly show that we're doing on our end of things, to sort of recap the more newsworthy or headline-grabbing stuff of the week. But we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the couple of great individuals or unsurprisingly, the large number of great individuals released from WWE over the last few days. Certainly frustrating, certainly something that I don't think we're going to add any new information to, for lack of a better way to put it, but lots of great individuals. So, Cody, since we asked you how you were doing last, we're going to ask you first, maybe are there any favorite memories, any guys that you're particularly excited to see on the independent scene? We'll keep it on the positive end because let's get real here. There's never going to be a positive way to talk about releases, but let's try and find the silver lining to things.
I think I'm most excited to see where Bronson ends up. I saw a tweet from him last night where he actually tagged Impact, ROH, NJ, and AEW all in his tweet, saying you'll regret letting me go or something along those lines. So yeah. I think ultimately, I'd like to see him in Impact. I think that's where he fits best. So I'm excited to see if that's where he ends up or wherever he goes there. I think Mercedes could be a great addition to any women's team. So really, really excited to see where she can land. A couple of guys like Jake Atlas, Kona Reeves, I think they have a ton of potential and a ton of opportunity now to really get out there and grow outside of the WWE mold. So some good people there. Bobby Fish, I would have loved to see Bobby stay. There's so many stories in the Undisputed Era to tell, but Bobby Fish is a great talent that'll be great wherever he goes to.
Completely agree. I think Mercedes was probably the one that I was most disappointed by. Bronson Reed, I think, is definitely an easy answer for all of us as well. You talk about great big dudes, great people in professional wrestling. I think he fits the bill on all of those ends of things. But Mercedes Martinez, man, she is so damn good. She, lots like Serena Deeb or a lot like those, veteran individuals that WWE's let go over the last little bit. I think she is going to get out there and absolutely tear it up wherever she goes. Pluggo, want to throw a huge shout out to you, friend, before I pass the ball on to Carl. Thank you, friend, for gifting a sub, for tuning in on Twitch, wherever you may be. Of course, we want to thank you for all the support, but you want to support a little bit extra. You want to put some money back in the pockets of the fine individuals you see on screen and some of the fine individuals in the chat right now. If you're on Twitch, that is one very easy way to do so. You get some great emotes. And as Goose throws out there, thank you for the gifted sub, Wilbur. I've dropped the ball on the renaming of Pluggo, as we tried to do a couple of weeks ago. However, like Bacon and Crunchwrap Supremes, you all be brunching. Yeah, we are. Andre, good to see you as well. I love brunch. I love Spencer. Also, Chris Parrish does rule. I'll never deny Chris Parrish rules, but when you're going up against a guy in a predictions competition, you got to take some shots. You got to have confidence in yourself. So Parrish does rule. He just maybe doesn't rule as hard as me. He's the champ right now, so I can't talk too much. Carl, before I put my foot in my mouth anymore, I'm going to toss it to you, buddy.
All these releases, I mean, it's unfortunate. Definitely it is. I mean, it sucks. It does. But how much have they been held down? How much has there been that they have not been able to do? So why not? If you're not using them and you're not using them to their fullest potential, let them go somewhere else where they can be used. And I think that this is what is actually happening, and I'm actually loving seeing this. I believe Cody, you had talked about Bronson there in the tweet that he put out. I believe he put in there, the beast has been unleashed. Something along those lines, an old Brock Lesnar term or whatever. But like, okay, so I just watched the an NWA power or extra power on YouTube, and oh wait, did the television championship change hands? Oh, it sure did. Spoiler alert, and it's gone to Tyrus, Bronson Reed and Tyrus. My God, could you imagine the little feud that those two could have?
Get Bronson Reed to take a championship off Tyrus, and I'm a very, very, very happy man on that end of things. I don't disagree, but to be honest with you, I could take a championship off of persona non grata for me on NWA, and I would be happy. You know what I mean? Bronson's huge. Yeah. Mercedes is huge. Jake Atlas is going to get out there and like just absolutely tear it up. Like you said, Carl, you know, it's certainly unfortunate whenever somebody loses a job, wherever it might be, and I think that that's definitely my first and gut feeling every single time this happens. But the positive, like you mentioned, is there are certainly more opportunities than ever for professional wrestlers. Drew hopping in. Thanks for having my back, man. I'll happily say Chris Parrish doesn't rule, but he seems like a nice guy anyway. Hello to you. I appreciate somebody hopping in and having my back. Joe as well. Parrish is sus. You know what? I will say Dylan really had us all going last night on Blowing Off Stream because that guy was the imposter like 7 times in a row. Really like took the role from me. I will say I've absolutely taken that on a couple of times myself, but
I think you missed it after you clocked out yesterday, Spencer, because Alex got it 8 or 9 times out of 10 after we switched ships.
Well, you know what they say, you got to build a strong heel, and if wins and losses don't matter, this is direct evidence that you can get heat on Love Wrestling by just continuing to kick our asses at video games. Astrid, hello, good to see you as well, hopping in the chat. Friends, throw your topics and suggestions our way. I know I keep throwing that at you because there is certainly a lot of them, but not a lot we haven't covered on Love Wrestling. So if you're looking for the opinions of 3 handsome gentlemen, you got it right here. The other thing that I wanted to touch on with you guys before we take a break here in about 8 or 9 minutes is I certainly wanted to touch real quick on CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Ric Flair, potentially Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, and all of these names that, again, you talk about free agents. Again, tough on some of the release ends, but when you look at guys like Adam Cole and Dunn and people who are like actively becoming free agents of their own volition by their own choice, makes it a lot more interesting when those sorts of names are getting batted around. So I wanted to ask you first, Carl, is there maybe one of those guys you're particularly excited to see, one of those less recent releases or upcoming free agents?
Definitely Adam Cole. 100%. If he does not take this deal that is apparently out there for him, there's apparently a close to $1 million deal that has been discussed with Vince McMahon and himself. If he decides not to take that, which I hope he doesn't, if he decides not to take that, I want to see him go absolutely everywhere. I don't want him to go just to one specific company. I want him to run roughshod on every company and just show the world exactly what Adam Cole can do. He's that smaller guy, just like the Shawn Michaels of today. And yes, everybody equates it to that, but you have to. It's a pretty easy
comparison and a pretty solid comparison to make, right? Like, he's too damn good. He's too damn good.
That's exactly it. He's too damn good. And I don't want that he's held down by one specific company. I want that he can actually go and travel to do some stuff in AEW, show up on New Japan, show up in NWA, and then make an appearance on Ring of Honor. Like, go everywhere.
I'm laughing in my head to myself right now because I don't know if either of you guys have seen The Other Guys, but like, it's like when Wahlberg's running out of the room. I'm like a peacock, Captain. You got to let me fly. And peacocks can't fly. But yeah, like it's a testament. You know, I can't compare or anything. You've obviously stepped inside the ring. I haven't. But like to see a guy like that and to have the incredible matches that he has had in NXT, what he could do, like you say, and it's cliche on my end to say sometimes too, but what he can do out there on the independents or out there in another promotion where he maybe can work a little bit more of what he had prior to his time with WWE. I am excited as all hell. Joe throwing out a great comment. Would love to see Punk versus Cole. You really could have some fun with those guys. Gabe, good to see you. I think I'm the handsomest of the gentlemen. While you are very handsome, I am the number one handsome boy. And Throwback, thank you for your 2 cheers, friend. I very, very much appreciate it. And I know I speak for Cody and Carl on that end. We'll get to your question, the first one that you threw in there after we ask Cody. We also want to make sure that we're doing right by the people on the screen. Cody, of those names who were mentioned, maybe one of the, again, not so recent releases, one of the upcoming free agents or potential free agents, is there one you're most excited to see out there?
I'm excited in a way to see what Punk can do out there, what he brings after being away for so long. I've said it multiple times in the past week on the different shows I've been jumping on that I wasn't a huge Punk fan at any point in his career, but it's just the name value, the love that everybody has for him, that having him out there and coming back finally after so many years of saying, nope, not going to happen. And finally somebody, if the rumors are true and he has signed and he does show up here in the next couple of weeks, curious and, anxious to see kind of where that goes and what happens with him and that kind of stuff. But just want to say that, with all the releases and now the people kind of coming off the show too, one thing I've started noticing recently is when people aren't being utilized properly in WWE, we all get frustrated and angry and like, why aren't they using them? Why are they sitting? Why do you have this guy? Why are you holding him down? But then when they do get released, now we're all upset that people are getting released. So I like the way you're looking at that, Carl, where it's, and Throwback too in his comment that it's cutting the fat, it's trimming the fat, it's letting these people go and do their own things and move forward with their careers rather than just sitting them and catering all the time. And it sucks to see people lose their job, but ultimately I'm excited for all of these people to go out there and actually get themselves on TV and get themselves in the ring and doing stuff again instead of just sitting waiting.
That's certainly the hope, right? And you couldn't have put it any better on that end, Cody. Is like they can get out there, and yes, of course, losing a job is always shitty when you're losing the steady paycheck that comes with it and all of that. But if it gets them out there and chasing new dreams or whatever other cliche that I can put on top of it, big hell yeah. Got to throw it out there, though. You guys have some fans in the comment, though I can't say that I'm all that thrilled to see this comment. And I do agree, Reese. It's nice to see you, number one. Number two, JP is certainly the handsomest of them all. The Love Wrestling OnlyFans, I highly doubt that will be happening. Let me tell you, if it is, I don't think anyone would be paying for me to be on there at the very least. Joe hopping in as well. What are the odds that selling the company is still on the table? I'll ask for like a minute or less on this one because I do want to make sure, again, we touch on Throwbacks, couple of questions in there, and we got to get to a break. So, Cody, turn into you first. Do you think that WWE is potentially setting up to sell? Answer in a minute or less.
It's so hard to envision it being sold. It's been such a McMahon thing for so long that I just personally cannot envision a world where Vince sells the company. But those rumors have been out there for so long. The talk has been out there that it's been on the market and that he's been listening to offers that, I mean, it's a possibility. I just don't know if anyone offers Vince the money he wants to do it.
Yeah. Carl.
Statistically and business-wise, this is all set up. It's all set up for a sale. Will it happen this year? Probably not. Will it happen in the next 5? I believe so.
Yeah, I'm prone to agree with you, Carl. They are more profitable now than they ever have been. They are more profitable than they were during the Attitude Era. I'm going to keep it to a minute or less. I'm just going to give myself a quick yes. When we come back here on Sunday Brunch, we're going to get to the couple of throwback questions or a couple of throwbacks questions in there. Play on words. A double entendre, as they say. We're going to get to those when we get back. However, sooner rather than later here on Love Wrestling, you guys are going to see an interview coming your way from my apartment into your ears and onto your eyes with Johnny Devine, former TNA X Division champion, a great individual, somebody doing some great stuff for Canadian pro wrestling. And if I'm talking about him being one of those, then I know those same misnomers. No. Wow. No. Refresh. Johnny Devine, great dude, great professional wrestler. That part I did well. The proper nomers apply to Josh Alexander as well. When we come back, I'm going to screw up less, but you'll be a little more inclined with information on Josh Alexander, courtesy of Johnny Devine. Absolutely, man. Now, of course, if we're talking about great Canadian professional wrestlers, whether it's Owen, Davey, Brett, or the individual I'm about to bring up, you've got to throw Josh Alexander in that conversation at this point, right? So, like, number one, obviously, talk about your relationship with him, because you coined the phrase, but he has lived the phrase as well of Canadian strong style. But just the impact he's making on Canadian wrestling now.
Well, and he is the exact prime example of what Canadian strong style is all about, because legitimately, when you can do everything, you can work with anyone and make it believable and make it interesting and make it something that suspends even for a moment your disbelief at least once or twice in a match, where you're just like, oh my God, like, oh, what's going on?
How the hell did he do that?
You know, like, come on, seriously? Are you kidding me? These are things I hear regularly, which that's the point, right? That is the exact desired effect of what we work for, what we train for. Like, you know, Bruce Lee said it best, you know, fear not the man who knows 1,000 kicks, fear the man who knows one kick and practices it 10,000 times a day. Josh Alexander is to a master's level. Like, if you thought in terms of education, he is now at a master's level education in the professional wrestling side of wrestling. And like, there isn't a human alive that he can't pull probably one of the best matches you've ever seen out of. And that is a testament to Josh pulling gold out of anyone.
Right. That guy could wrestle a 2x4, and I would definitely pay for it on pay-per-view if they gave her the proper promotion to throw a lot of P's in one sentence. Yes, Johnny Devine. Derek, good to see you, friend. The wrestler Johnny Devine, the former X Division champion Johnny Devine, former Team Canada member Johnny Devine, and Joe, as you mentioned, the trainer of Danny Duggan, the founder and owner of the CWE. If you guys are in the Edmonton area today, shortly after brunch ends, hop in the vehicle, make your way out to St. Albert, because Canadian Wrestling's Elite is running right here in Alberta. They always put a great show on. And then, of course, once you're done there, head over to the Royal Canadian Legion, #1 Real Canadian Wrestling, running tonight with, yes, the aforementioned Josh Alexander. He's been here all weekend. He will be main eventing tonight's show against RCW, Canadian Heavyweight Champion Heavy Metal. Lots going out there as far as great professional wrestling. And Goose, honk, 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 will be on both shows, so make sure that you get out there. I'm not sure if Goose has merchandise on hand, but make sure if he doesn't, that you get back onto ProWrestlingTees.com. Search up Goose, buy a shirt, honk along, get out and support your local indie promotion wherever you may be. However, now, as I mentioned a couple of times in there, I want to make sure that we get to the couple of comments that throwback through out there, because I did leave them a little long, but I think that they're comments that certainly will inspire some discussion. Show, said Sean Connery. WWE is trimming the fat on their product. It's going to definitely move the product back years. Vince is out of touch. The majority of NXT gone is insane. Hunter needs to stand up and take control of NXT again. This is their idea of fixing Raw. Then they need to fix their heads. Good stories drive good shows. Get it right, Vince. Hashtag Spencer 2 belts. That's the biggest thing that I got a big smile for on my end of things. But yeah, you know, there are the rumors out there that NXT is maybe moving back to more of a traditional developmental product, more like we may have seen with FCW, OVW, and those sorts of promotions back in the day. One of the quotes that I read out there, and admittedly it was just something on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was attributed to, is the best way to put it. That NXT would be moving back to sort of the Curtis Axel days of NXT is the best way to put it. Now, do I think that they're going to go back to a full-on game show? No, though I do love me a good game show every so often. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because personally, as a huge fan of NXT, I can't say that that's something that titillates the eardrums or gets the senses going. But where do you feel when you hear a sentence like that? Cody, we'll start with you.
It's the only WWE show that I make sure to be home to watch as quick, like either when it's live or as soon as it's done when I get home on Tuesday nights. Raw and SmackDown, I'll catch the clip shows. If I have the time during the week, I'll go through and try and catch up on all the important stuff that happens through the show. But NXT is the number one WWE show to me right now. And it baffles me that it doesn't get the ratings of everything else now that it is available on cable TV and available on streaming the next day, where Raw and SmackDown aren't even available for a couple weeks, I think, after they're done showing on live TV.
Yeah, I think it was like a month afterwards, because Canada, we still have the WWE Network up here. So I think it was like a month later that we were able to get Raw and SmackDown on the network.
Yeah, so I mean, NXT, best stories, best character development, best wrestling. It's just all around, I find it to be the better product every week. And I would be very, very disappointed if it's gone and we're just left with Raw and SmackDown again.
Yeah. Carl, same question to you, but I'm going to expand on it a little bit. How do you think that would maybe affect the main roster? Would we see any change? Would it still be a lot of like, NXT? The best way I can put it is like characters on NXT aren't necessarily their characters on WWE programming. Do you think you continue to see those resets? Is it so that you can start to maybe build one consistent character, work them the whole way through? Or how do you think that maybe affects promotion, for lack of a better way, to the main roster?
To answer that, I don't think that it's really going to affect Raw or SmackDown at all. I think it's still going to be kind of like that underground breeding area for superstars. So it's going to, hopefully, I kind of preferred when it was kind of back in the days of, kind of underground and kind of dark, right? And you really didn't know these people unless you were actually watching the show, whereas now they're showing clips on all the different programming of, this is what's happened on NXT, this is what's happening there. These people, it's all over the place. And I don't think it really needs that. I think if you want to have NXT, it's going to have its own cult following, just like an ECW did. And you build with that, and then you take these people, bring them in, train them to make sure that they can go to Raw or SmackDown and become a great superstar because they've already had that amazing training from people like Triple H, William Regal, Shawn Michaels, just to name a few that are working down there.
I had to laugh. I saw a tweet yesterday, and again, it's like sort of dark humor given all the releases and that, but something like, if this would never have happened if Bret Hart was in NXT rather than Shawn or something like that. And admittedly, I just laughed. There's a reason that Bret was on The Simpsons, damn it. I do have to correct myself in there. Well, Andre had to correct me in the comments, and then I subsequently had to correct myself on screen. Metal is RCW Commonwealth Champion. Michael Richard Blaze is the RCW Canadian Heavyweight Champion. 1,000 pardons on that end because, again, I screwed up. You fix it. If it wasn't for accidents, I wouldn't be alive. That doesn't mean, however, you shouldn't fix them when you've got the opportunity to. Friends, let us know your thoughts on NXT or anything else that we have been discussing or haven't discussed here on Sunday Brunch quite yet. We got half an hour left to continue discussing pro wrestling, everything in between with all you fine folks there in the comments section. Feel free to throw them your way. Carl, I did cut you off a couple of times there.
That's okay.
I appreciate you being patient with my plugs.
That's perfectly fine. I just wanted to throw out there that it's okay if you messed that up. You know why it's okay? Because there is so much great professional wrestling that is out there in this world right now that, yes, even us professionals do sometimes mix things up. And that's a good thing, though, because we can't remember absolutely everything. I know I can't. Too many concussions over the years.
I wouldn't want to run into MRB on a street corner after saying somebody else was holding his belt, though.
No, I can certainly tell you that. MRB, great individual, dude. I would be terrified to touch that. I can say that about 99.999% of professional wrestlers, though. What with me being a skinny dude with opinions on professional wrestling that voices them online, they could kick my ass. Let's just get flat out with that one, gentlemen. SummerSlam. We are less than 2 weeks away. In fact, as of yesterday, we are exactly 2 weeks away, putting us 13 days away from the show of shows. Not a ton of announced matches as of this point, but definitely a lot of matches that I think we can see coming that are all but inevitable, right? So let's maybe kick her off a little bit there. Cody, you seem excited, obviously wearing the John Cena shirt. I was going to ask why you were topless earlier, but the fact that you showed me the text is good to go. Haha, get it? Because you can't see him. It's a very original joke about John Cena here on Love Wrestling. You cannot see him. However, we're going to move past my shitty jokes onto Cody's opinion on the upcoming Summerfest, excuse me, as so lovingly coined by Jeremy Piven. What are your thoughts? What are you excited for? What are you looking forward to, friend?
I'm looking forward to be blown away by Cena and Roman. I really am.
Yeah.
I have very high expectations of the two of them, especially with the work Roman's doing now and what John does every time he shows up. I know a lot of people have issues with both of their wrestling styles in the ring and everything, but personally, I think they're two great workers who can tell a hell of a story in the ring. So I'm really, really excited to see them at the top of their game right now. The Lashley Goldberg stuff, I'm a huge mark for Goldberg. I always love seeing Goldberg on my screen. I would prefer he was far away from any title anytime he came back. Let him tell stories without needing the belt being involved. But Lashley and Goldberg, they're two big guys that are going to do big guy things in the ring.
Big meaty men slapping meat, as so lovingly phrased by Big E. That might be, to be honest with you, the best podcast I've ever listened to purely for that 4-minute, 5-minute clip that they had discussing Goldberg. That is one I'd love to see. And I pitched the idea a couple of weeks ago when we were doing, I think it was even another Sunday brunch, of Goldberg beating Lashley for the championship and then Big E cashing in on Goldberg, purely given that I would be so excited for him not only to get his dream match, but, inevitably I would hope become the WWE champion. Throwback. Got to thank you for the cheers right off the bat, my friend. We're going to get to Carl's answer because, again, I want to make sure that we're at least getting everybody's opinions on the question that we threw out, and then we'll hop on to your comment in there as well. But, Carl, the Slam of Summers, as Matt Hardy, I believe, would probably phrase it in his broken phase. What you excited for? What you looking forward to?
I am
Any
definitely
ideas?
excited.
Any fantasy booking? Anything? I'm just going to keep rambling. Sorry, I know you started your sentence.
That's okay. I don't really have any fantasy bookings. I really don't. I mean, I don't get to watch the WWE programming as often as I definitely should because I'm quite bored with it. I will definitely watch other programming that is available for me. So I'm a little out of the loop, but I still catch clip shows to make sure that I'm up with everything that's there.
Yeah, like the Hulu version or whatever.
Yeah. Now this Nikki ASH story that is going on here, I am super excited to see that continue. Yes, I do not want to see her drop that championship as of yet. She went to creative and said, I have an idea. Creative says, okay, run with it. She is running with it, and she's leaping those tall buildings, let me tell you. And I am loving it right now.
This long-term storytelling, Carl. Long-term storytelling, because she was beating Charlotte and Rhea months and months ago before she was even close to this title.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's fantastic. And like you said, Carl, the fact that she took this idea that right off the bat, I don't know about you guys, but I certainly saw that first panning shot of the superhero costume and I love me some Nikki Cross, but when your first real experience with her is sort of the psycho, crazy, sanity version of Nikki Cross, to see this is quite jarring and certainly the opposite of what I had fallen in love with about her, if that makes any sort of sense. But like you said, man, she's taken the ball. She's absolutely run with it. By no means does anybody ever think that she's not talented enough to, but a superhero gimmick, oh my goodness, look at the costume, all those sort of complaints that you saw online off the bat. None. You don't hear any of them anymore, and rightfully so. She's absolutely killing it. Personally, too, and I know it's not a unique opinion by any means, but I would really, really love to see her and Alexa Bliss feud in sort of their current incarnations right now. I think that when you talk about larger than life professional wrestling and, I'm a big sucker for the supernatural aspects of pro wrestling at points too. I think there's a lot to be done there. I know people wanted them to have their blow-off feud when they broke up as a tag team. This could be a really cool way to get back into it. Like, of course, you got to play it right. And I know that there's a lot of ways that they have not done the Alexa Bliss character right in certain aspects, but like, shit, shoot your shot. I think that this is a real cool way to have that, again, larger than life sort of professional wrestling feud that people love. You know, I like sort of the Ring of Honor. Like, Carl, I think you and I have a lot of similarities in like the sports-based pro wrestling. That's sort of my preferred genre. But at the same time, man, love The Fiend, love Undertaker, love Kane. I had time for Mordecai. So if you think that I'm not going to watch like supernatural professional wrestling and love that too, cool. Sign me up, throw it my way, script it well, perform, you know, all those sort of bells and whistles bullshit that I could throw your guys' way. I'm excited about it.
Do you remember that there was an angle 20 years ago or something where Undertaker was afraid of the urn though? And now we have people complaining about Lily. Like,
probably had a cucumber in it.
We had loved that with Undertaker when they were doing the Paul Bearer story where he was holding the urn and making the Undertaker like bend a knee. But now we got Lily doing stuff and everybody hates it all. So
you know what, and you get it with anything. It's like the nostalgic memory. People sort of tune out the things that they didn't like about stories, all of that. Like, that just is what it is. Because there was even certainly some goofier stuff than that, I can tell you, 15, 20 years ago in professional wrestling.
Cody, I'm so happy that you brought that up, because that is exactly what I kind of wanted to get to as well. Even Spencer, you had said it too. Maybe not everything with Alexa Bliss. Okay, in my eyes, I am a huge mark for Alexa Bliss, and the only thing that she has done wrong is Ryan Cabrera and not me. Okay, that is the only thing that she has done wrong. Yeah,
Carl, we are 100% on the same page there, except me, not you.
But I'm loving everything about this character with Alexa Bliss right now, and especially Lily. I want a Lily doll. I am going to have to at some point visit that shop of the conglomerate and get me one of those dolls, because I love it. It's just so creepy. And like you said, Spencer, like that's something that kind of drew you in because it was different. It was something that was just kind of like out of this world, and that's what professional wrestling is. Professional wrestling is totally out of this world. You have to suspend every disbelief that you have inside of your head, and that's the best way to do it.
And you've got to have the buffet of it, right? Like, for every Styles Nakamura match, I love stuff like this, right? I love the super. I don't know. I could say that a million times on a show and still not stress it enough. But either way, back on the SummerSlam end of things, man, I am so excited. I really hope that they use this as an opportunity. Not that they don't ever deserve to be like perpetually in the championship picture, but I hope that Charlotte and Rhea continue to feud and get the title out of the way. You know, I think that they are two women who can go out there, have just like the most, and they've had great matches before, don't get me wrong, but like just have sort of the badass ass kicking match without sort of, again, those the bells and whistles to it. I'd be excited as all hell for them to move on, get another storyline going outside of the championship pictures for the women, because the more opportunities, each and every woman on the roster right now, man, like you can't think of one who's not killing it. You know, again, a similar thing that I was thinking the other day is like, how much has Piper Niven absolutely killed her role with Eva Marie? Like, absolutely just killed it. And same thing is like, you see the name Dewdrop? What the? Oh my goodness. But, you know, fool me one time, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on me. And they've fooled me twice, at least in the last little bit, as far as stuff where you sort of give it the proverbial WTF and have to completely change your opinion, at least in my end of things. Hopping in, Alex, good to see you, friend. The Lily Lucian begins. I've quite liked it. They've tied in the glamorous side of pro wrestling very, very well with the supernatural side of professional wrestling. Completely agree, Wilbur. Rhea and Flair should fight forever. And yeah, Andre, you know what? I am admittedly far, far behind on my NJPW, so I've got to do myself some real research and some real catching up before I tune in. But Resurgence is going to be terrific. Carl, Cody, I don't know how much you watch New Japan, but Carl, I know you're an aficionado, for lack of a better way to put it. I've got one more clip that I got to roll, and we're getting close to a break. So maybe give me your quick 1 minute thoughts on what's going to happen on August 14th. And Cody, feel free to hop in. I just really, on this end of things, I am underqualified to have an opinion.
So I will take the 1 minute and just say, if you have not seen anything New Japan Pro Wrestling, please do yourself a favor. Hop on YouTube, type in New Japan Pro Wrestling Official or NJPW Official. Take a look at some of the stuff that they have there that they have been doing. You are not going to want to miss this Resurgence pay-per-view that is going to happen. Find a way to watch it no matter how. I don't care at this point. I'm not going to tell you to do anything illegal, but find a way to watch it because you are going to be so impressed at the actual work and sportsmanship that you are going to see in there. It is something totally different from what you would see on WWE programming, so keep that in mind, but definitely do yourself a favor. New Japan Pro Wrestling, check it out.
I'm going to send that to New Japan as a promo clip.
I'm admittedly behind on my NJPW too, Spencer. I love the product, but when I watch, I like to go back to where I left off and try and catch up on everything I've missed.
That's what I do too. That's why I'm so behind.
Days and days binging NJPW when I'm watching it. So I'm still kind of stuck in the summer struggle stuff right now, but NJPWworld.com if you want to pay and support the product and go watch it the correct way as opposed to just searching up backwards links.
I completely agree. Support any professional wrestling at every opportunity that you possibly can. Andre, anyone else in the comments, feel free to throw maybe some suggested matches, something you're excited about upcoming for Resurgence, maybe a couple of matches or a couple of stories that have happened over the last couple of months that you would suggest I get caught up on heading into the 14th. But while you guys are collecting your thoughts around that, while you're figuring out how you can keep me updated, I'm going to keep you guys updated with one of the latest and greatest that I did. I got to chat with Shazza McKenzie a couple of days ago. What an absolute damn delight that was. I don't think I need to sell you guys on her being a great professional wrestler. I'm very lucky that that's the case with a lot of the individuals I've chatted with, but I'm also very lucky that I've had the opportunity to chat with a lot of great individuals. Shazza was certainly one of them. She has some dream matches. Now, of course, I like closing these out with people's goals in the near future, but with Australia in a bit of a lockdown, I, of course, want to ask on that end. But I thought it'd be fun to play some indie wrestling superlatives to close out today's show. So, first and foremost, do you have any goals in the future that you would like to touch on anywhere you want to work, anywhere you want to work someone specific, anything in between on that end?
My goal is just to get back to America. Like, it doesn't matter how, I'm not particular how, I don't care. Like, I want to be able to be in America and wrestle on either the American independent scene or ideally on a television show. That'd be fantastic. But, I also know that that's a, 1 in a million thing. But just to be able to go there, and because I feel like before this pandemic was happening, I was really like, it's just there. And now that I've had like 18 months to think about being just there, like I'm like ready. So that's my main goal. The two women that I want to wrestle the absolute most is Serena Deeb and Deonna Purrazzo. I just think they're both phenomenal wrestlers, and like the last time I was in America, the idea of wrestling them just wasn't a possibility because one was a coach and one was in NXT, and now there's just I was like, those were the two free agents when they became free agents, and I was like, oh my god, like
it's
this
mind blowing.
Like this, I can. There's like the slightest possibility someone will let me wrestle these two. That's crazy. So those are my two like dream matches.
Talk about matches that I am certainly looking forward to should they ever happen. Quite literally the sentence, I think, to paraphrase at least, that I followed that up with was, any way that I can help promote, anyone that I can DM, any possible way that we could make those happen. I would be very, very excited to see those as a pro wrestling fan. I hope you guys check that interview out. It was an absolute blast to chat with her. It sucks that Australia's in a lockdown, but it opened up the opportunity for me to get to know one of the greatest to come from down under over frankly, and I'm batting a little out of my weight class here, folks, but you talk about great Australian professional wrestlers, she has to be on that damn list, and as well as being a great person. Want to touch on a couple of things as well in the comments. Well, one thing from a couple of people, really. We've got Andre and we've got Mighty Joe both recommending to check out Lance Archer versus Hiroshi Tanahashi coming up from NJPW Resurgence. Like, think about the fact, guys, I brought this up on Sunday Brunch a couple of weeks ago as well again. Like, John Moxley is going to wrestle Tanahashi, and that's like the 7th biggest piece of news to come out of pro wrestling in the last couple of weeks. Isn't that nuts? Isn't it wild to be a professional wrestling fan in this day and age? Isn't it magical? Isn't it absolutely magical? So I'm going to open the floor to this discussion with that, because that's something that I'm particularly excited for on my end. Carl, is there maybe something that we haven't talked about quite yet today that you're looking forward to, you want to recommend that people check out? You know, you already gave the nice little advertising piece for New Japan as a whole, so we'll clip that and play that here if you need. But what are you particularly looking forward to?
I am looking forward to and absolutely loving this interpromotional work that is currently happening between companies like AEW, Impact, New Japan. This is absolutely fantastic. And this, to me, is the way that it should be. There shouldn't be any competition between this company, that company, or the other. You're all professional wrestlers. You're all entertainers. You're all looking to make the people happy when you're inside that ring and make a couple of dollars doing it. So if you can do that by stretching over multiple companies and having feuds, because, I mean, you got to look at it. Some of these feuds we never would have got. Never would have got any of these matches
when
had
are we
they
getting
just
Kenny
stayed
Omega versus
company.
Sami Callihan? Yeah,
right. Right. Even okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. I know some people are very turned off by this matchup and some people are not. But I mean, Chris Jericho, right? And Nick Gage. Okay.
Oh my.
Like,
dude, that was literally what Shaza and I started our conversation about. Was like how just was just how mind-blowing it was to see that. You know, Cody, I think you and I were chatting about this during one of the streams this week.
Last week, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, is like you said, Carl, it's not necessarily something that's for everybody, especially not Domino's Pizza, apparently.
Right.
But it was certainly something that people would have thought was impossible, even as recently as a couple of months ago, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's hopping in as well. Sorry to cut you guys off there as well. But Bubba Duke, good to see you, friend. Thank you for tuning in. It's about time that wrestling promotions are doing this. They should have been doing this from day one. I agree. Like, you know, I can't claim to know what the inner workings of the business are. And I understand there needs to be like the need for exclusivity to some level. But you see what it's even done for Impact, having some of the highest pay-per-view buys of all time, having the ability to now, you know, in part because of this, monetize their product rather than streaming on Twitch. They're able to monetize it on YouTube. You know, Nick Aldis actually put it perfectly when I was chatting with him a couple of months ago. It's better to sell 10,000 hamburgers than give away 20, right? Like, I'm excited as hell for Impact, the product. I understand that that's a barrier for some people, and I don't want to begrudge that. But, you know, at the end of the day, if Impact's making money, that means they're able to pay more professional wrestlers to work for them. They're able to bring in individuals like a Rachel Ellering or a Mickie James for the spots that she's been doing to promote Power. The costs have to come somewhere, and if it's coming from my pocket to help watch these products in some ways, within reason, obviously, I'll pay for a subscription. I ain't paying for a booking. But it's exciting. It's just damn exciing. Yeah, and Joe hopping in as well. Sorry, I don't mean to cut off again, but Joe just agreeing as well with you guys. Yeah. Competition's also healthy too. Should drive companies to try and outdo each other with the best product. And I think that, like, you're even the AEW Impact relationship, I think, is the perfect example for me. Is like, because of that relationship, it's able to push AEW to do bigger and better things. It's allowed Impact to do bigger and better dream matches on their product. And yeah, instead of just taking cheap shots at each other, I'll leave that one in the air. Sorry, I'll shut my big yap. You guys,
it's okay. I just want to follow that up with back in the day. This is exactly how it was. Companies were doing this. It was called the territory days. where you would swap and share talent. We're just doing it on a bigger level now. It's televised now. It's out there on the internet now, and we're using a few more people than only using 2 or 3 and shipping them around the territories. We're back to territory days now, and I absolutely love it.
Yep.
Cody, thoughts?
Just thinking about it as you're going through all that, like all of the different cross-promotional stuff now, I think Kenny's carrying the ROH world title with his AEW title, right? You've got
Impact.
Is it the Impact title?
No worries. ROH is still Gresham. Big old stud John Gresham.
Yeah.
Talk about the Daniel Bryan Dream match, guys. It's right there. It's right there in Ring of Honor.
You've got the Good Brothers carrying the Impact titles now, the cross-promotion at the Resurgence match that they're getting with Mox and his mystery partner. You've got Mickey showing up promoting NWA on Impact, getting Deanna to come across. You've got the Layla Hirsch, number 1 contender for the NWA there. I honestly haven't watched any NWA. That's the one piece that I'm out of the loop on. But now seeing the promotion in AEW, the promotion in Impact, all of this talk and these matches that are coming together for this NWA Empower pay-per-view, now I'm going to be like, okay, I have to figure out where to watch this.
Yeah, it's going to be available on Fight. It is the night before NWA 73. I forget what the days of the week are. I apologize, but I believe it's August 27th and 28th. But yeah, highly recommend checking those out. There are definitely a lot of valid complaints about some of the things the National Wrestling Alliance has done over the last little bit, but there are certainly some great reasons to tune into both of those pay-per-views. For me, man, like you brought her up, but Deonna Purrazzo for me was the person that I wanted to most see cross that like proverbial forbidden door. Like we're getting her versus Melina in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Like who would have ever thought? Again, you know, the same way we talk about Gage and Jericho, obviously to a less violent degree, but who would have thought that this would have been a reality again, even 6 months ago, a year ago? Like Chelsea Green's wrestling on NWA Empower. It's nuts the amount of talent. Like you mentioned, legit Layla Hirsch. She is going to absolutely tear it up with Camille. You know, I'm a big sucker for the David versus Goliath story that they tend to tell in professional wrestling. And like that visual was nuts.
That visual there that you said it right there. I got vibes of Kevin Nash, Rey Mysterio looking at those two in the ring together.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be so cool. Like, you know, I hate the phrase star-making performance, especially for someone like a Layla Hirsch who anytime she's been on Dark, anytime she's been on Dynamite, like she's absolutely killed it. But this is easily going to be one of the biggest platforms of her career. And I'm really excited for that because hot damn, she's great. She's real great. Joe, I just got to, put myself over. Daniel versus Gresham would be sweet. Gresham versus anybody would be sweet. Adam Cole's wrestled Gresham before, so it ain't necessarily a dream match, but certainly something I would be real excited for. And as far as Chelsea Green goes, I see your comment in there. She's doing a very different version of the hot mess right now. Like if you watched her time on Impact tag match that she had with Matt Cardona, certainly a different version, but certainly no less crazy in all of the most positive ways. Pluggo, Wilbur, Layla is money. Can't wait to see her take on Camille, who is also money. Yes, an astute point from good friend Pluggo. We got about 8 minutes left here on Sunday Brunch, friends, so I'm going to continue along that theme of, we were talking Forbidden Door, but that was kickstarted by things we're excited for, things that we're looking forward to. Cody, I'll let you pick up the ball and run with it, friend. Couple more minutes left. Who are you? What are you? I was going to try and make the 5 W's work there. It just wouldn't have. And I realized when I got to where. Sorry. Again, you guys are watching me proverbially botch a lot of spots, as the insiders are saying. What are you excited for in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of days, maybe even potentially in pro wrestling?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the next couple of days particularly, but definitely looking forward to the takeover build. There's, I guess Tuesday night, ultimately my biggest thing I'm looking forward to this Tuesday is more of the story build for Raquel and Dakota right now, and hearing now that Raquel is supposed to break her silence. I'm really excited to see where that goes. The Friends betrayal is always a great story to be told there. Takeover 36 is growing to be an amazing show, and then Wednesday night, just where we go with this Cody Malachi story is my number one right there right now.
Completely agree with you, man. I'm very, very excited on Raquel and Dakota Kai. Another thing, see, just to bring it back to the cheap plugs that Shaza McKenzie and I chatted about. There we go. Dakota Kai, good person, great pro wrestler, someone who kicked the head off of her. Carl, I'll give you your final thoughts, your final opportunity, I suppose, to talk about things you're excited about, and then we'll move into the shameless plug portion of the show, and we will let you tell us why you're excited about this week's episode, the 31st episode of Turnbuckle Rewind.
Just to put everything out there to round things out, right now is an amazing time to be a professional wrestling fan. Everything is so hot, red freaking hot right now, and you just, if you've been out of the loop for a while, try to make your way back into it because you will not be disappointed. Make sure you're checking out professional wrestling, whether it's looking at stuff, the independent companies that are out there on YouTube, or whether you're watching it on your television as it's being brought to you by Impact or Ring of Honor or AEW. Everything is so good right now. And sure, throw in some WWE into the mix there too if you want, because, well, that's nostalgia and they're the conglomerate. So go ahead and watch a little bit of them too. I know it's hard because there is so much that's out there right now, but you can do it. I believe in you, and we can definitely make pro wrestling great again.
Yeah, see, Joe, that's why we couldn't put Pluggo on camera. The budget cuts. It was because we had paid a license Rob Schneider's "You Can Do It" for the end of the show. Tell me a little bit about Turnbuckle Rewind this week, Carl. I'm excited to hear what you
My goodness. Turnbuckle Rewind is going to be off the freaking chain. We are going to be looking at Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker. This is, just a classic matchup. And if you have not seen anything, Turnbuckle Rewind, you need to go to lovewrestling.ca and then click that podcast section. Lovewrestling.ca is where everything is at. You have to take a look at that. We're on social media as well at TB Talk Pod, as well as find us everywhere for Turnbuckle Rewind. It's all available there. Everything is good to go. We promote everything for Love Wrestling that we possibly can. You have to, because why? Well, they're paying the bills. That's why. Yeah.
Cody, what about you, my friend? It's been a pleasure having you on the live streams over the last little bit. I would have to assume that's going to continue through the next week.
Yeah. Depending on my shoot job time availability, but I will definitely be here Wednesday night for the War Report with Pluggo and JPJ, making sure that we're reacting to all things AEW Dynamite, possibly some dark Elevate. We got Rampage coming on Friday. Who knows what may come with reactions there. So keep an eye out Wednesdays, Saturdays, Sundays, wherever you can find me.
It is an exciting time, man. AEW, not even just the rumors, but we're going to talk about that next week, I'm sure, on Sunday Brunch. Lots of exciting stuff coming up in between then and now, friends. It all starts today. Josh Robinson, a few hours after this video is done, will have the legacy of Maria Kanellis. I chatted with her a couple of weeks ago about her new role with ROH, and he dives into everything, not only just that, but her time in WWE, previous work with WWE, the Divas Search of WWE. Lots of great stuff there. I've got Samira on the Mind Behind on Tuesday, of course, chatting with one of professional wrestling's greatest content creators. She's really starting to dive into her own stuff, interviewing individuals from MLW, starting to do some commentary and backstage work for Camp Leapfrog. And then later that day, see, we got the nice little plug for a great graphic right there, and a great show as well, as Zach reviews NWA Power on Power Out. The War Report will follow shortly after that. Turnbuckle Rewind is coming out on Wednesday. The aforementioned Bray Wyatt Undertaker match will be the subject this week. I'm also going to have Hotshot Johnny Devine on the show that day as well. And the War Report, Between Two Beards, Sunday Brunch Inspired, Headlock Talk, and all of that great stuff is going to be heading your way over the next 7 days. Pluggo putting it more perfectly than I ever could. That's a lot of badass looking content. I couldn't agree more. Drew, have a great day to yourself as well, friend, and thank you for tuning in. I hope you continue to do so throughout the week, as I hope the rest of you guys continue to do so throughout the week. Then, now, and forever, to steal another phrase that hopefully they just don't search us on Twitch, because we'll get everything stolen from us if they find us. But thank you guys for tuning in. There's a lot of professional wrestling content out there. Lots of great interviews, lots of great podcasts, lots of great people as well that we love supporting here at Love Wrestling. But you guys took the time from 11 till 12 a.m. Mountain Time to support us. So thank you guys for doing so. We hope we pay it back to you guys in great content, in great stuff coming up over the next little bit that you guys look forward to. Now, if somebody would like to on the Twitch end of things, feel free to suggest someone to raid. We want to support some great people. And if we don't have any great people to support on our followers end of things, well, it's Sunday. We want to keep things mellow. We did it last week and we'll do it again. If nobody's able to in the next few seconds, we're going to be raiding Bob Ross because, yeah, the joy of painting is still excellent. Keeping a nice, relaxed Sunday morning is always a good thing to be doing. And nobody in my admittedly maybe too short, but definitely short amount of time here vamping. Cool. Kayla Vision. That is who we are going to go and see. I am now going to type in Kayla Vision into the raid channel. Can you guys tell that I'm very old? I am very old. There's no results found. This is even proving further I'm much, much older than I thought I would ever be. It's disappointing. We'll go for it. We're going to go see Bobby Ross. Drew, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do things. I'm old. I'm struggling in front of everybody on Twitch here, guys. I'm struggling. No, can't find it. We're just going to, well, you know what? Let's go support some Impact Professional Wrestling. We're talking about a great product. So let's do it. We're going to go hang out with Impact Wrestling on Twitch. If you guys are tuned in on Facebook or YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, I can't tell you how appreciated it is that you came and hung out with us this AM. For Cody, for Carl, I've been Spencer Love. Brent, yeah, the struggle is totally real out here. I can't even begin to tell you how old. Twitch and TikTok, usually if it's a social media platform that starts with T, I am struggling. But thank you guys for tuning in. It is always appreciated when you take the time for us here on Love Wrestling. We'll see you sooner rather than later. Thanks for supporting.